Welcome to Restoration Beyond the Couch. I'm Dr. Lee Long, and today I'm joined once again by Jason and Rhonda Halbert. Together, they wrote Caretaker, the first book in the Good Pasture Chronicles, under the pen name R.J. Halbert. This series grew out of their creativity and became a way to process trauma through storytelling. Caretaker blends history, mystery, and some therapy into a powerful read. And the audiobook, man, it delivers a true cinematic experience. I highly recommend it. In today's conversation, we'll explore the struggles they've faced and the lessons that they've learned, and how their story has become a message of hope and restoration for others. Your path to mental wellness starts here. Because we've walked a lot of miles together in a lot of different ways. And I don't know, I mean, it's like you guys go from a career in music to a best-selling book. I mean, like wrap your head around that, like a best-selling book.
Yep.
I don't know that we've slowed down enough to think about it.
Yeah, we haven't wrapped. Yeah. It hasn't been wrapped around our heads yet.
There's no head wrapping around.
Yeah. There's no head wrapping.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the title of the book, Caretaker, and that's the first in a trilogy of the Good Pasture Chronicles. Mm-hmm. And I look at it as like a movement. It's like the Good Pasture Chronicles movement.
I like that.
I do like that.
Right? So you guys did a post recently on maybe Instagram or one of the socials, and you asked the question, Jason, like, okay, the title of our book is Caretaker. The reason we named it Caretaker is, take it away. Do you remember? Yeah.
I don't remember what I
said. So I do. You said, Rhonda was the caretaker for her mother.
Yep.
Through her, like, ushered her into heaven.
Yep.
You were the caretaker for your mother, ushered her into heaven. And it's like, what does caretaker mean to you? Yep. And I was like, what a great, I love that question.
Yeah, the book didn't start off in that aspect. The book initially, the story is about this house. The house is actually the main character of the book. And we had a caretaker of the house. And as that unfolded, we were writing one story, and then we started seeing parallels in our lives. And I'm like, really, a caretaker is a steward of something precious. And so this house in this book is something very special, more special than the readers or the family knows. And we know as parents, we know what it's like to be stewards of our children, caretakers of them. It was a new experience. Rhonda went through it first, being a caretaker for her mother. But it really is, it's a stewardship of something precious. And so somehow all those layers came in together, and we started reading our own story we'd already written. That's what made me ask the question is what does caretaker mean to you? Because we actually wrote it in one aspect, and then it turned into something else.
Yeah, discovering the different layers of that word. That was fun.
What were the wrinkles that you guys have seen from that?
Like in what way?
In any way.
I'm sorry. This is what happens.
It's all good.
So I think as we wrote the story, it just started opening up. We were in such a heavy spot in our lives, and we didn't know what else to do to face every single day with the heaviness of processing, taking care of my mother, and processing the loss of our home, and taking care of what does that rebuild look like. And, that word caretaker just unfolds. It opens up Pandora's box, basically.
It really does.
It does. And I don't think we knew that.
Yeah.
I think we were inspired by the word because of the journey that we were on personally, but the book itself, man, I don't know how to describe it because it just sounds so cheesy. It started to develop itself. And the more we wrote, the more the meanings just kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. And man, in the process of writing, I found a lot of healing in that journey of taking care of my mother and taking care of rebuilding our home and taking care of ourselves, learning how to take care of myself. I don't think I knew how to do that. And writing the book has become this lesson for me of understanding what caretaker actually means on, again, it's just so many levels.
Multiple layers.
I don't even know how to go there.
So I love what you said about learning to take care of yourself, because when I saw your post, what hit me, because I was like, oh, I want to play. And I was like, what's my answer to that? And I thought for a bit, what is caretaker? What does that look like? And, I've read the book a few times, listened to the audiobook. We'll get to that. It's phenomenal. But the thing that struck me as I stepped back and really just let the word sit was exactly what you just said. Caretaker, it's like, do we know how to caretake us? Do we know how to take care of the thing that we've been gifted, which is ourselves?
Yeah.
I think at the time we didn't know how.
Yeah.
We run 110 miles a minute, and our lifestyle calls for it. And it's more than a cultural thing, even though I know Americans in general, we have a very busy lifestyle compared to other countries. But then you throw in the entertainment business, and that one's like, it's jacked up on 11. And it's
nice Spinal Tap reference there.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And it's one of those things where, like, to keep up, you just have to keep going. And we just, in our younger days, when we set the groundwork for our lives, we had the energy and we had the capacity and the understanding of, well, we'll just do this and we'll just do this and we'll just do this. And we could do it. And then now we're getting later in our lives, and then disaster happening to us, and realizing, oh, wait, you can't sustain that. It's not forever. It's very detrimental, actually, what we've done to ourselves. And we're having to unpack a lot of that and figure out what that looks like to take care of us, so that we can take care of each other, so that we can take care of our family, so that we can take care of our property, so that we can take care of our future. And I think that that's been the deep lesson. On top of all of that, what the story Caretaker talks about is taking care of the future. And for us, this book actually is talking about generations. And what we're doing now is going to affect our future. And what we want to do is to take care of it so that it has longevity and it leaves an impact beyond us. I've never had that feeling or that desire to want to leave an eternal impact. That's actually never been a thought in my mind. I just thought, well, I'm here with this life. I'll do the best that I can. And then we go on to the next life, And now that I'm just, getting older in life, I'm like, oh, I want to leave something for my kids, something of myself, not money, not property, something of myself.
Right.
I want to leave something for my grandkids. I want them to know who I was. And I didn't actually know my grandparents that well.
Right.
I wish I did. I knew them some.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known them better.
Right.
And I would like for the third generation, the fourth generation, to have little glimpses of who we are as people and the stories that we tell. And, I want it to bring life, and I want it to be a gift to the future. So I think that's even another definition of caretaker.
I love that. I think that you look back at the things that you guys went through from 2020 on, and it's like one loss after the next, just a random bullet taking a nephew, a cancer, dementia, COVID. Then I guess, would it be fair to say that the final blow was the flood?
I think the flood of our home was the final blow, because, aside from my nephew being shot, most of the things we experienced are things that everybody will experience at some point in their life. We're not unique, and trauma hits everybody in many different ways. I think the number and intensity in a short amount of time stacked up really quickly, and our home was our safe place. This was our forever home. This was, at the very least, we'd come together into this place, and it even became more of that space during COVID, because as we were taken away from work and family and community, our home became even more of a place. It had already been a place of healing for our daughter through cancer. It became a place of community and it holds all your memories. It holds the things that keep you going when trauma hits your life.
Right.
So when that was destroyed, and I'm saying destroyed, unlivable, uninhabitable, it wasn't the financial impact, because we could work hard again, we could rebuild on our own, we can buckle down and do it. It's what it wiped out emotionally for us, and it took away a place of safe haven during an already very difficult time. And I remember talking to you early on. I think we've already discussed how we came about writing this book, and this book sounds so heavy. Like if I was tuning into Restoration Beyond the Couch, which I do, and it'd be like, wait a minute, why are we talking about a book and what's going on here? For us, we took this in this creative outlet. At first, I remember discussing this with you a long time ago, saying, I feel like I'm almost copping out. Like this surely this is unhealthy, right? We're creating this fantasy world so we don't have to deal in our reality.
Right.
And to be honest, after years of every morning on the way to work, on the way home, talking about the update with your mother, then my mother, then my sister, and then at some point to be able to talk about these other people, these other characters that didn't exist, and build and dream together, to actually give birth to something in the midst of so much death, became such a place of peace and joy for us.
Right.
And I was a little bit worried about, am I creating this compartment of non-reality to exist in right here? And we've discovered over time that for us, it was actually what the book taught us is we were actually processing trauma during that. We were taking, instead of putting on each other, here's how I feel, here's how you feel, here's what does that mean? Well, we put them onto these poor characters. And we're not writers. I'm a songwriter and I'm a creator, and Rhonda's a creator in different ways, but writing the written word has never been our thing. So I remember hearing interviews about authors saying these characters took on their own life. Ours did, and I know that sounds really cheesy. I'm rolling my eyes with you as I hear people say that. But they did. We set them up with some of our truths, and then the story developed this thing, and it taught us during that time. And so that's I have no idea what the question was, but that's my answer to it.
I love the answer, but I think that there's a really special place there for. It's funny when I learned, or when I'm around other professionals in this field, and they say, yeah, well, we're going to use wet therapy. And I'm like, oh, I don't like the way that sounds.
Never heard of it.
It's called written exposure therapy. Okay. And people write out their traumas. And that's exactly when we talked. It was like, yes, we use metaphors in DBT because that's what helps people. It's an experience.
Yeah.
And giving people an experience that can help drive home a different pathway.
Yeah.
I mean, not only did you provide a pathway to walk through your things, I will say that since the book has been out for, a year now, more than a year, that what I've seen it do in my practice is that it's taken people who've been walking through their tragedies and traumas, and it's given them the inspiration to, one, face them. There were some people who said, I've never talked about this with anybody, but there were some themes in Caretaker that really helped unearth for me things that I've kept hidden for a very long time. And I think it's time to bring it to the light. And so it's already impacting people in the mental health space, right? And it's a fiction. Yep. I love your description of it. It's some history, some mystery, and a little bit of therapy.
Yes. I mean, I can honestly say, without us even having known the skills that you're talking about and the education that you gathered throughout your career, not having any of that, it truly was healing for us. And we're still walking, lots of it out as well. But it gave us a starting point because we were both so buried by our grief. And I can't even say that word grief without feeling that lump come up in my throat. Sure. It was dark days. And now we're able to laugh and talk about it. But I think the way we got there was because we wrote something that brought us life, and it brought us freedom, and it brought us hope, not knowing it would take us there. it was just like Jason said, it was just an outlet to get out of our heads, to get out of our pain, and to be able to dream, and then be able to do it together. Because a lot of times we can say, okay, well, that's the way you're going to process, and this is the way I'm going to process. And then somehow that actually can drive sometimes a little bit of a division because we're not seeing the same way. Mm-hmm. But man, I'm so thankful that this drove us closer together. It's, it was definitely hard, but I think we're starting to see that. We actually just said it to each other today. Oh my gosh, we're a really good team. We said that. And it's like, yeah.
So we're like oil and vinegar. Yeah. It's like, those don't mix. I'm like, yeah, but they taste great together. So.
You just have to shake them like crazy.
Well, that's what I said. I go, you have to macerate those to make them.
And we have been. So there you go.
Yeah. What has it been like with you guys working together? I mean, because you're right. Typically in grief, in trauma, that does tend to pull a couple apart because not everybody grieves the same, and nor should they.
Yeah.
Right.
And so how has that been working together as a married couple?
It's been a journey.
I love that.
It's been fantastic. I don't know. And this has been a catalyst, like probably more than anything else. We've had some other couples in the industry, and I've thought a long time about working with my spouse and what is that like? And, because there is a stigma against it professionally, against working with your spouse, at least in our industry, there is. And then it's hard enough deciding on what's for dinner, yet alone what your future is for.
What's crazy is we can't decide on what's for dinner, but we can decide and actually work together on the ending for book 2. Like that's crazy. I don't know how that's working.
But for us, it's been a mutual respect for each other's skill sets. We're very, very different people, as most couples are.
Yeah.
And I have a lane that I operate very freely in and too freely in, and she operates in a lane that she operates very freely and too freely in. And so we do like this, like bumper cars, and somehow it's smoothed out into this lovely routine of, not routine in a bad way, but just we're operating.
We understand each other now. Now, this is 32 years of marriage and 35 years of being together. And so I don't know what that would be like if we were younger, but, we understand each other's strengths now. And there's like working with Jason is phenomenal. All I need is him in the room. I will get writer's block, or I will get stomped, or I will be, uninspired. And I'm just like, I can't do it today. Jason comes in the room and I'm like, oh, okay, I got you. Okay, I can do this, and he's such a huge inspiration because he comes in with these huge ideas.
Right.
And somebody in our life gave us this phrase of he's the wow and I'm the how. And that's what I love is he can come in and blow the doors off with his big dreams.
And then I get instantly exhausted because I come up with this wild thing we can start, and by the end of it, we're throughout the known universe. And then I go into instant depression of this is beautiful. How could I ever possibly achieve that? How? And that's where Rhonda steps in. She can take the next piece and take the baton and go with it. And so there's in any venture, any business, you're going to have to partner with somebody.
Right.
And it's going to require trust and vulnerability, even if it's just on a business level.
Right.
So why not have that trust and vulnerability that's already built in, and we're able to help each other in the same goal. So for us, it's been a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's
the financial splits are great.
100. I think that's beautiful because you guys, like you're saying, you guys are an inspiration to each other and for each other. And that walking through this, it sounds like to me, it's something that has been a real cohesive and drawing you guys together even more at this stage of 3 decades into your marriage. Again, I think, it's like this is a healing process for you.
And maybe not everybody's in a position to be in business with their partner, their spouse together, but you're not married 32 years without some couples therapy of some sort. So yes, we've been through many different forms of couples therapy. And a lot of times, some people, when you're at the height of something, it's like, it's just good to take a timeout. I'm not good with a timeout. Like, what do we do? This has kind of become almost a timeout. It's like we're going to get back to this. We're going to focus, like we're able to put marriage things aside for a moment to work on something we love
It's
together.
become
So
neutral territory.
Yes, yeah.
Because we
It's like
both
an active timeout. Yeah.
Yeah.
care about it. So
it's neutral enough to where even when we might not be at a good place with each other, this project, this story is so precious to us that we're both handling that carefully.
Yeah.
And because we do that, it brings us into this neutral zone of, okay, well, we can still do this because this means this much to us and we want to see it to the end. So that actually has been like the safety zone, I guess, for us.
I think that's really an incredible thing that you guys have done in this, right? Because I think those listening, I hope that what we're all learning from you guys is it's like we have to be creative in finding how we relate to each other after 3 decades, right? Especially when you've gone through all the things crammed into, I mean, my gosh, when you talk about packing something in, you guys have packed in a lot of hurt, a lot of trauma, a lot of loss, a lot of really hard things all into one time frame, very small time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than it tearing you apart, it's like, okay, what's unique to us? First of all, how do we figure out how to process this thing? Second of all, how do we use our creativity? Because both of you have always both been very creative and love productions. And so how do I take this creativity? How do I fight to be with you? And in that center space, it's like you're creating something beautiful that's not only for you, but it's for everybody else.
Yeah.
So
I think just so that we're also not painting this perfect picture.
Sure.
Yeah, we were hurting so badly that we didn't know how to reach each other. And we ended up going to get a brain therapy because our brains were so traumatized that we were both in fight or flight mode. And when we're both in fight or flight, we're fleeing from each other. So there was a season at the beginning of this where it wasn't so rosy and we didn't have the answers. But in the core of who we are, we knew that I love you, you love me. So there's this journey that we're doing this together. So how can we get there? And so we were grasping and reaching, like, what can we do? And we're asking for help and we're asking for assistance. And so we had multiple avenues that we reached out to, ultimately getting us to the place to where we weren't in fight or flight. We could calm down, see each other in each other's pain.
Yeah.
And then this creativity started to come on its own and it gave us an outlet. And then that's what drew us closer together.
Right.
Instead of pulling us apart. But the beginning, like I hope anybody who's listening doesn't think that we made all these great decisions from the beginning, because that's not how life goes.
Right. It's a lengthy process no matter what.
Yes.
But what I love about what you're saying is that here's the caretaker theme again, is that I had to learn how to take care of me.
Yes.
I wanted to take care of you, not in a codependent way so much, but I want to be able to care for you.
Yep.
And it's like that came together and created something really beautiful. That's why I think it's a movement.
Yep.
Yeah.
The thing about Caretakers, we originally, the book is morphed in a good way, the series. I mean, we sat down, it's like the first time we spoke to you, we're like, we have this whole thing mapped out. This is how it starts, this is how it ends. And that is true. And we wrote, I'm laying together a thought there. So, good edit point for your edit right here. I might skip on there, but I had a really good one. It left the button. Come back. I have a good one. It left me.
That's why it's a movement.
Yes. Well, the idea when we wrote Caretaker, the book has morphed, but when the first idea, I was actually looking for a caretaker. Like you're in that, the trauma happened so fast back to back. Things would happen where this would happen. I need to process that, but now Rhonda's taking care of her mom. Now Rhonda's a caretaker. Now something happens. Her mom's just passed away. Not even time to process that. We're in that. So the rapid fire of all that hit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even conscious. And then as we wrote this book, I realized we did it wasn't a lie, but I've done many national interviews at this point where I've said this book is not based on our lives, that we informed it. I think looking back, we wrote so much of ourselves. The characters are not based on our literal things,
Right.
but we wrote our pain into that. And the only reason I know that now is because because we weren't processing the trauma. Now, as we're working on the book and continuing it, now we're actually, there's scenes that come up, and with the audiobook that I realize, oh, I actually never even processed that. I'm weeping and re-grieving things again that we weren't able to. So the book is now speaking this back. And so the caretaker, through many conversations with therapists and people that are important in our lives, it's so trite, but it's, when the airplane goes down, oxygen mask first. And something we've learned through caretakers, the best way to be a caretaker is to take care of yourself, which in some upbringings can feel very selfish.
Absolutely.
And both of us have realized in this journey that we had not been taking care of ourselves and had to let go of that for a second. And so the idea of caretaker, even for us, has morphed, and that has even informed. What's funny is we haven't had to change the story. The story was already there. There's things that are going to happen with the caretaker that unpack all that. And this all sounds so heavy. It's really a fun book. Like, we're talking like
it is a really fun book. The first one is caretaker, then comes servant, and then last is architect. And you think about those three titles and how much significance caretaker has. When you named all three, where there is each book crafted around the essence of what that word means?
Yes, and it's multi-layered, and so it's hard to talk about in a sense. But just like we've unpacked, caretaker has several layers of meanings for people.
Sure.
So does servant, and I think that the idea of servant, it has negative connotations. It's almost being enslaved or being indebted. It's a hierarchy. But then there's servant, as in serving, which is a byproduct of being a caretaker.
Yes.
That's all very purposeful and written into it.
Yeah, when you break down the three names, like go even further into architect. So that in itself, you're carefully designing something, you're creating, and because you've become the creator, it's precious to you, and now you care for it. So there's just so many layers of what's about to come.
Which is the Ouroboros. Our symbology is all very...
Which is the cover of the book.
Yes. It's a ancient symbol of infinity that things happen in cycles.
And repeat.
So for us, without giving away a lot of spoilers, it's really exciting for us, but a caretaker into servant into architect into caretaker is just a never-ending cycle. And going some fun places with that.
I love that. Talking about fun places.
Yes.
You guys put together an audiobook.
We did.
Which is my favorite because I love to consume information and I love to consume it in an audible way. Tell us about that, because coming from a guy who never listened to audiobooks. No. Did you listen to audiobooks,
Nope.
Rhonda? You weren't an audiobook
I'm
person.
a reader, not an audio listener.
Okay.
I mean, Ron and I grew up together, and from a young age, and
in more ways than one, right?
And we were involved in our music department at church and all the dramas and everything. And I had a mentor growing up, Don Stabe, and if we needed a 15-minute production with like one main character, I got you. 2 hours, 37 characters. That has seeped into my DNA, and it's carried through. Like, I think the first time Rhonda watched, I think maybe 8 or so years ago, I produced and wrote the opening for the Billboard Music Awards.
Yes.
And she thought...
Okay, hold on a second. That is one of my favorite ever.
Yeah.
It's mine too.
Yeah, they asked for a 3-minute song, and we worked in 42 songs in those 3 minutes, and ta-da! I mean, we had that's a direct lineage of Don Stabe and the productions. So I say all that to say that that's just inherent in who I am. And so
definitely the wow.
Yeah.
Yes. See?
So it was a surprise. We did, not only did we write a book, which was a surprise, the getting it out there as independent authors, and there's a whole reason why we decided to go independent with this book. That achievement, you feel like, we did it. We can rest now.
Yep.
Let's go on vacation. Woohoo, we did it. Yes. And then somebody's like, well, where's the audiobook? I'm like, the audiobook? Like, apparently that's a big deal. We do our research. Over 50-something% of people. Yeah. So I've never listened to an audiobook. So I'm like, okay, audiobook. So I'll go and listen to an audiobook. And the first one I listened, I've since learned there are many multicast audiobooks, but I listened to 3 books I knew, and it was one narrator reading it. And instantly I'm like, well, that does not match the voice in my head. And, the voice reading for different characters didn't work for me. So I'm like, well, what if we do this? Gave this Ron this whole thing, like, I want sound effects, I want music, I want each person to be a different voice and a different cast member. And for the first time, she went to how? Like, how on earth are you going to do that?
What?
She shifted from how to what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got this. I record and produce music.
I do this
and
for a
vocals
living.
For a living. I got this. How hard can it be? So skipping a lot of things, we wrote together. We wrote a dream list of actors
and
voices that weren't even necessarily tied to the characters, but just like the book, we were actors that were important in our lives. They evoked an emotion that left an imprint on us that felt like the same imprint of something in the story.
Mm-hmm.
They all said yes, which was amazing. We ended up recording them all. And then the editing process happened. Yeah, it's like, my little 3.5-minute songs that I've produced over the years, this is like 15,000 of those. I mean, it's 15 days of audio times, 12 actors, and there's some math formula out here, but, if you have Henry and Cusick, Amy Grant, Kelly Clarkson, Michael Shanks, Eric Avari, all giving you 5 lines each. And then, this line works good with this one, but now this one. And it's all of a sudden, there's 100 million permutations.
Yes.
Permutations? No.
Permutations.
So all to say, it took us a year to finish the audiobook. It was a labor of love, and we're extremely excited about it and thrilled about it. Like, it's...
For those audiobook listeners, we feel the love.
I'm glad.
It's full with a score, getting all the characters, and my favorite were the sound effects.
Oh, yeah.
Mine too.
The wind.
We actually
like
hired
cars.
a Foley guy from Hollywood to do that. Yeah. And it was absolutely worth it. It made the story come even more alive than how it was in my own mind.
Yeah, there were scenes we wrote from our own experiences that we'd written, we'd read, we've talked about, we heard the narration. Mm-hmm. As soon as the sound effects came in, it immersed us in that. It was like you're 9 years old all again. You're in that spot. Like
absolutely.
The power of those senses really enhanced the story and added a weight to it that surprised even us.
Well, I think what also surprised me was we wrote the story from a certain point of view, but these actors don't have our point of view.
Yes.
So as they're trying out delivering a line in a certain way, which is what Jason was referencing, like we would get 5 versions of one sentence. Mm-hmm. It was so fascinating to hear it was coming from their perspective and their experiences and their point of view. And you would just know when they hit the right line and you'd go, oh, I never thought of it like that. Mm-hmm. And we wrote it. That was fascinating to me.
Right.
And it just goes to show that everybody's experiences changes everybody's view, and there just needs to be more grace in this world for that, because we think we are so single-minded, and you must understand what I'm saying. Don't you understand where I've come from?
We're all the central characters of our own movies and stories,
right?
So everything filters through that.
But recording that just opened up a whole nother experience of going, oh, there's a lot more experiences out here and a lot more voices, and they've just interpreted that in another beautiful way that I wasn't even prepared for.
Right.
And it added so much more to the story. It was a very, very hard process for us. We took on a whole lot more than we could have handled at the time, but we got through it, and I'm glad we did it. And now we've got all the actors going, when are we recording book 2? And Jason's like, mm-mm.
Oh, you got to have book 2 recorded.
It's
been a journey.
Yeah.
It's been a journey.
Okay, you guys have owned 3 different homes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And in each one of those, there's been some crazy stories and tales.
Yes.
One of which we somewhat experienced a minor piece of this, in that we had some bees that hived or nested or whatever bees do, because they hived in our, like on an eave in our house. They didn't make it in, but you guys were less fortunate.
Yes.
And so you found, how many bees were in your house in California?
They told us about 40,000 bees were in our house.
That's like a whole honey factory.
It like a cloud. Like
it was a dark cloud. You know the cartoon, when we were kids, you'd watch Bugs Bunny and they would show a black cloud flying together like that, like bees.
Yeah.
That happened inside my house, not outside. It happened inside. And so I went to the kitchen, I think, just to get some water, food, whatever. And we were in, there was a living room, a kitchen, and then like a formal living room.
Mm-hmm.
So the kitchen divided that. We were hanging out in the back room. I go to the kitchen and I just hear this low hum. I'm like, what did the kids leave on? And so I'm following the hum and I go into the formal living room. And on the far end of the windows, which that far wall was all windows, was just bees everywhere.
Inside.
It was inside. It was so loud. I freaked out, and I'm allergic to bees. So I grabbed the 2 tiny chihuahuas and the kids, and I'm like, come on, kids, we're going out the side door. And so we go outside and stand in the front yard. I call some bee guy, and he comes out, and we're all standing in the yard because I'm not going anywhere near that house. And he gets out of his car, and the house is behind me. I'm facing the street. And as he gets out of the car, I think he's looking at me, but then I'm noticing he's not looking at me. He's looking above me. And I'm like, what is he looking at? And I turn around, and that's when we saw another movement in the sky coming, and it scared him. And he was the bee guy. He was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, what do I do? And he's like, there's nothing you can do. And so
just run.
Yeah. I mean, he was just like, don't go near the house. So he suits up and he gets a giant smoker and he just smokes them out. I didn't want dead bees all in the house. We just wanted them gone.
Right.
So he smoked them out, and it took some time. And there were other parts of the house that we could get to without feeling like we were going to be attacked by the bees. So we were able to go back inside, but it took some time. But basically he said, yeah, the queen decided to move in, and it was an old house. We love old houses. And so she found an opening, and it went through to the inside of the house instead of just in the eaves.
In the eaves,
And so, so that was our experience of live bees.
Right.
And in that same house, we were remodeling. So we were tearing down a bunch of walls, and we go to our daughter's room, and we notice this stain, like an odd stain on the wall. And we're just, what that could be? This house was so old and so scary. And there's like a whole nother long story that we could write a book about, that there was an actual murder scene in the house. And we actually had homicide investigated, and it's an open case. So there's that story. So as that is going on, we see this stain on the wall. It's looking like it's dripping. So we're like, oh my goodness. So we tear into the walls, and it is a probably 25-pound honeycomb, but it's abandoned. And it's just got honey oozing out of it into the walls. So it was just really
put wallpaper
creepy.
And there's gross stuff coming on the walls.
It was coming through the walls. It was seeping.
But to his point, those are all natural things. There's nothing blurry. There's nothing supernatural about that. Bees attack homes. Honeycombs get in things.
They do. But I can get into this the scary stuff that happened.
Well, yeah. Okay, so a mashup, which is your favorite, I know, of this story makes it into the book, yes?
Okay, everything in the book was informed by real events. And I say that was the bees, that's a natural event. The house we moved into that had 31 dead cats in the backyard, old ladies bury their cats, and weird things happen. You stack all these natural events up over time, and that's where I start to see perhaps there's a supernatural
connection
theme using those things. Now, I'm a believer. I believe in an afterlife. I believe in the angelic, the demonic. I'm happy to live right here and not see any of that.
Even with your wow?
I
you don't want to be wowed by that?
Wow here. I have no desire.
You're like, I'm the creator of wow.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody else's wow.
And Rhonda's like open and hoping and looking for, like, she wants to see through the veil, whatever the veil is. So we're very different that way.
Yes.
Unfortunately, from my childhood experiences, I've seen so many things associated with places and homes, and we've experienced in our life. So our homes are a theme. I don't know the science behind this, and there has to be. There's a science that intersects with the supernatural, but somehow homes can carry history, energy, things. We could go into quantum physics why that might work, or science, but the bottom line is it does. And so we've been a part of some homes that have carried some darker things, and we've been a part of a home, our most recent home that was destroyed. People would come to our home that we've never either first-time visitor or lifelong family friend and say they've never slept that well in their lives before, and I'd be like, oh, it's probably carbon monoxide. And they would leave it. No, there was a piece that came with the thing, so we incorporated those thoughts into our book, and it's not to steal from them. It's very blurry, and the more we research it, the blurrier it gets. What is natural? What is physical? What is metaphysical? The most annoying part about being authors and writing this book and where we're at right now is we thought we had downloaded some things. We've had some life experiences.
Yeah.
We worked them into a book, and we're like, we can't wait to share these truths with the world. Yeah. We do. Now we're living new things that now the book is challenging us back again. It's like, oh, you believe that, and I don't know if there's a therapeutic truth to this or something, but it seems in lots of areas in our lives, when you receive a truth, it seems like at some point soon after you're going to be tested, and what does that truth look like to you? And that's where we've been recently in the book. Even since writing the first book, we, for many reasons, we didn't share this our first round, but at the end of finishing the book, I was diagnosed with cancer. Right. Well, that's a very new trauma in our lives, but we've just sat in front of millions of people and said, here's how we process our trauma, and this is what helped us. And now it's like, oh, so how are you going to process this time? What are you going to do in the physical that's going to affect the metaphysical in this situation? So there's a whole journey that's been with that. And even now, as we're in the process of finishing book 3, it's the Ouroboros, it's a cycle. It's like we've created, and now we've learned truths, and now it's talking back to us. And so with my cancer, am I going to tackle this purely in the physical, or are there other blurry things going on that we can build into? So
it does. Where we're at. I love that. Somebody said to me just recently, can I just learn the lesson so that this will stop?
Yeah.
And I was like, this won't stop. Yeah. You aren't, the relief of this is not being withheld from you because you're not learning something. You're learning something in the midst of the things like the Ouroboros. It keeps coming. Life continues to happen. But it's when we grow, as we face things, as we walk through them, it's about taking that learning and applying it, like you said, to everything that we've experienced. And then growing more. And as it goes, it's like, I love that it keeps cycling.
But I think you have to come to a place in your own life where you let go, and you've got to be willing to change. Because some of us, like the phrase I always heard as a kid is, "Oh, you're going to go around that mountain again, aren't you?" And yes, we are going to keep going around that mountain until we learn. Right. So there has to come a time in your life when you just let go and you learn the lesson. Stop being obstinate, stop being stubborn. And I'm speaking to myself. I'm confessing. You just have to let go and learn the lesson and change. A lot of people don't like change. I don't like change, but I'm glad I've changed. And that's the part that you have to get past yourself, and you've got to know that there is a better ending to this. There is a better story coming, and there is life on the other side. There is peace on the other side, but you have to be willing to let go with whatever it is that you're strangling yourself with, and you've got to let it go and realize change is good. And that's where the life lessons keep coming. They don't stop. So what are we going to do with them?
Right. Yeah, I think we all too often look to the environment to make us feel better. And what I hear you saying, Rhonda, is that once I let go of what I'm clutching onto in the environment, and I just embrace the fact that I am who I am, and I want to learn and grow, and I'm not going to demand that the environment caretakes me, but I'm going to learn to caretake myself. Yes, I will get care from the environment, but I won't demand it anymore. Then that mountain that I'm going to go around again, because you will, may look just a little bit different, a little more palatable, a little more doable.
It'll be a smaller mountain.
That's right. That's
Until it shrinks.
Right. And then that's the end of the Ouroboros. Yeah.
But also, I think, like Jason was saying, I do embrace the supernatural and the freaky, and I like to learn from that.
Right.
And I think that we can. So every time Jason and I do a book signing, I've started writing a little phrase in there, listen to the whispers. I believe that there is a kind and gentle, loving whisper that if we shut down the rest of the world and shut down our own fears and listen, we will find that still small voice, and there will be a place of healing coming from that still small voice. So for me, I like to write in those bits of the stories to lead people to want to ask the question, is this real? I don't know. Why don't you ask? What is the voice saying? Quiet your head and listen for that voice and see if you can hear that truth. So I like to challenge that. That's exciting for me. Jason doesn't like it so much, but I love it.
Okay, I just don't know which one of the voices I might have to listen to at times. I'm going to be talking about the whispers on the couch podcast. Healthy voices.
Healthy voices.
I love that. This has been so fun.
Yeah, man.
It's always fun to be with you guys. It's fun to think about where this project has been and where it's going, and the movement and the stirring that you guys are creating and have created. Please, more audiobooks.
Yeah, we're gonna work on it.
We got to get rest from the last one.
We're excited because the next book is coming out this year,
November 18th.
And it's been a challenge because just like with any work, Caretaker really just laid a foundation, and it took a lot of. We just really needed to invest in these characters, and it from Caretaker Servant just takes off, and now the real journey begins.
Yeah.
I know that book 2, I know Servant picks up where Caretaker left off.
Yep.
And I'm going to challenge everybody listening, go read it.
It's
because
a big
the
cliffhanger.
end of the book, you're like, what have you done to me? So,
and I think it will be very exciting for the people who want to continue to read to see what we've done. And then I'm really, really excited about the ending. The ending takes it even further into the supernatural. And Jason and I had an opportunity to write that together, I think on your birthday, which was in June. So it was recent. And we might have had maybe 2 hours together, and we wrote the biggest climax of the book in 2 hours, and it just flowed, and it was so fun. And he's pacing the room and I'm typing as fast as I can. And it was just very exciting to be able to work like that.
yes.
So if that's book 2, I can't wait for us to get into book 3 and start hitting those moments again and watch how this is going to end.
I know you guys don't do anything small, and I really thank you for sharing that with the world and not keeping that just for yourself. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
I think I find it hard to know that people would actually care.
They do, and it's made an impact. So thank you.
We'll keep writing.
And audio scoring. Awesome.